Hello again. This week we're going to work on exercises that develop our core strength and help us better understand our stabilizing muscles a little bit. I'd actually hoped that these exercises would help us move from the core better, but it didn't quite work out that way. The exercises themselves were interesting though, so we're going to give them a try. And you may end up sore the next day because the first thing we're going to do is burn out a bunch of muscles before we get to the exercises. So let's get to it. The setup. For this week, you're going to need two boards that can support your weight and two uneven surfaces to balance them on, like a teeter-totter. The boards can be anything from 2x4s to planks of wood to shelves to anything that can support your weight. And the uneven surface could be a brick, a small cut piece of 2x4. In my case, I'm using two rocks I had outside. As long as the surface area that makes connection with the planks is small, it should work. The less surface area, the harder the exercise, but the more you're going to learn. I would also recommend you get a piece of foam or have a long sleeve shirt if you're doing this outside, because we're going to be holding a plank for a while, and that gets hard on the forearms after a while if you don't have something under them. All right. Hold a plank. So I've sped this up and edited a lot. But basically, you're going to hold a plank. You want to bow your back, keep your legs straight, try not to arch down. I'll put a link in the description of someone who describes planks better than I do with the do's and don'ts. I tend to have one foot over the other from an old training study or old training style, but it's up to you. Also, try and keep your arms forward. And at the halfway point, I switch which leg's underneath. When we were doing these, it was 2 minutes to hold it, and then we did short breaks in between. Our real goal is to burn out all of the muscles in our core and our sides and everything, so that when we do the next exercises, it's really easy to tell when you're using them. So now we take our short break, 10 to 30 seconds. And then we repeat. We're going to do this 3 times, and it's up to you the length of time that you do these for. If you break during 1 to 2 minutes, just give yourself a few seconds to breathe and then start the plank again. I think in the third set you'll start to notice, you'll start to see some of my bad habits where my arms come together instead of being straight out and things like that. And of course, at the midpoint, you switch the legs if you're doing the one leg. Admittedly, having people to talk to while doing this distracted me from it, which helps get through it. So we take another break, then we start it up again. And if doing this 3 times isn't enough to burn you out, then do it 4 or change the amount of time that you hold it. It all depends on what kind of shape you're in. Three 2-minute bursts seem to work for everybody on the call. So and yeah, throughout the rest of this video, you're going to see things sped up and edited because They're not that interesting to watch, and you can set whatever times you want for how long you do them. Basically do them until you can't anymore or they're not interesting anymore, whichever comes first. There I sag some. I believe my arms had moved, so my hands are closer to touching. Bad habits. So now you take a 1 minute break, let yourself breathe some, and we're going to start with the actual exercises. So you're going to make your first teeter-totter plank. Basically just put the plank on your uneven surface. I chose the more uneven of the two because we're going to use the other set for our legs, and that I wanted more stable at the beginning. So to start, you're going to sprawl your legs as much as you can. This should be the most stable position you can take with this, and you're just going to hold it. You're going to feel what muscles fire to stabilize you and try and control them a little bit. The goal, if you can control the stabilizing muscles along the side, is that when you want to connect your upper body and lower body, you can connect them, either to generate power or stability or whatever you want. So now we're going to try and move them with those stabilizing muscles. So keep your hips straight as much as you can, and then use the muscles along your side, the obliques, I believe, and expand or contract them. Either have one pull or have one push. One side, that is. And try and get that to turn. It's again, so we get better control over these muscles, so that when we want to use them, we can use them. And here is a public domain image to show you the muscles I'm talking about. The external oblique. There, I'm trying to explain it on the call. So right, you try and contract down, and it turns your upper body. Your shoulders and hips stay fairly straight. They're not the ones doing the turns. So now we take another short break. So now we're going to put our feet together in a more standard push-up position. Our arms are shoulder width, and you'll notice at least we were less stable. And we're just going to hold it, and we're going to feel the muscles that are now even more burned out and try and control them. And we've found that if you press them towards your hips, you can be at least for me, I could be a lot more stable. Again, another break. Lots of breaks in this one. So now we're going to try moving from 3 different positions. Well, not positions, but right, you can try with the sides, the obliques and lats, I think. You can also try turning with your shoulders and turning with your hips. There's the shoulders. And then the hips, which makes me really unstable. And more resting. Hooray! So much downtime in this one. So now we're going to move our arms further out on our plank, basically as far out as you can, and try it again. Basically see if that changes anything stability-wise for you. And again, the shoulders, the sides, and the hip. And then more resting. It's like nap exercises. So now we're going to try one foot over the other and just try and hold it. See, it's less stable. Remember which foot's underneath, because we're going to keep doing that for the next few exercises. And this is just trying to hold it. Admittedly, we're more tired at this point, but it's also considerably less stable. Rest. And then we're going to try moving the 3 points, like the shoulder, the midsection, and in this one, the hips really made me super unstable. Also, when doing all of these exercises, don't put your fingers underneath, because that happens at some point, and it hurts a lot. But if it happens, just get back to it. But keep your fingers further out. I think that one didn't catch my fingers, but another one later on does. So rest, and we're going to do the same exercises with our arms further apart. Again, trying to hold it, and then trying to move from the core, the shoulders, and the hips. The hips really get my body completely torquing. With this one, the shoulders was really easy. Shoulders were really easy. All right, so now we're going to switch over to the other foot underneath and repeat everything, right? Hold it at shoulder width first. Basically just so that both sides of our body are completely worn. Then shoulder width, and you move. So shoulders, core, and hips, which make me fall. So then spread your arms out and do the whole, like hold it and then try moving, all the standards. And then more resting, hooray. But now we're going to try the one that is difficult. We're going to set up our second block at around knee or shin length. And this is the way that I found was the easiest to get on, so I can use my toes to balance the back. But that's the one where I hit my hands or my fingers. All right, so you can balance with your toes at first, get your arms up, and then take your feet out of the equation and just hold it. In here, the slight twitches of your stabilizing muscles you'll really feel. Next, we're going to try moving from that position. Go, feet are out, And I'm a bit more cautious with the moving because of that. I mean, when you fall, just get right back up. And try again. Notice I'm much more careful with where my hands are now. Well, where my fingers are. So, once you've mastered that, which we did not, move the rock further back. It's going to be around ankle distance. So then we try and hold it at ankle length. After a few tries, this is the way that seemed to make the most sense for me getting on. Be a lot easier if I had someone there to spot it, but I don't. And then you just try and hold. And this is why I chose the more stable rock for the back, because I knew I was going to have to press up onto it in order to stand, basically. Well, to hold. So now we're going to actually try and move. And this is a nice chaotic mess from both the instability and the lack of control. Laugh at your mistakes because they're funny. Alright, so next, take your shoes off and try it on your toes. You can try it with your shoes, but I found that was a lot more difficult. With my shoes off, my toes could adjust the amount of pressure a lot easier and feel the amount of pressure a lot easier. And for this one, I'm just trying to hold. I'm not really trying to move much. If you want to take it one step further, you would again try moving from each of the sections. And during the call, I was asked if it was easier because the back rock was higher, so switch to the other side to see. And it wound up pretty much being about the same. And I actually thought that the more unstable rock for the feet would be a lot harder, but it really wasn't. And that's it. Thanks for watching.